I think you need to create the demand for data within the organization. So I think I would start with making sure that everyone can access the data, even though you think the data is bad quality, you're missing data on many assets, maybe you don't have the right resolution. But if you start to show something, people will start to ask questions. They might challenge your data, they might question the data quality. But there I think you have the start of creating a demand in the organization, which also creates, it motivates the cost to collect the data, because it can be sometimes quite expensive, but you should know what you get for the data you collect. So I would start with creating a demand, showing, I mean, if it's interactive, the data, if you can see it in a chart and click it and interact with it, even better. But it can also be really simple, just start showing some high level numbers and see how people react. From a data perspective, of course the data needs to be correct and so on, but I know that there's a lot of old data being used for very important decisions, to make sure that you have data freshness, so to speak, that you have data that's accurate, of course, but also recent, the past month maybe, or the past day, and not look at data that are several years old. Also to make sure that you can trace back and see where the data came from, so you can really trust the decisions you're making based on your data. So it's maybe more about making sure you have the processes and you can trust it, and you can also investigate if something goes wrong. It's a little bit like your bookkeeping. It should make life easy for an auditor coming in and verifying that the decisions you have made has been made on the correct data. I think it's always been that money talks. The demand for hourly values, it actually came when the utility company started to bill customers based on the hour and not based on the month values. If you can link the actions you have taken on an asset, install new windows or improve the HVAC system by fine-tuning it, and you can link it to the data set that you have for that asset and see what happened after we did that, you can really show the investor what worked with their own data. Because I think it's quite interesting that you see so much technology that has so much promises to save 30% or 50%, but yet they still struggle to sell. And I think it's because that the asset owners don't really trust that data, that you will actually save that much. You can use more granular data to also see which buildings are similar, and get even more confidence in, oh, here are two buildings that looks identical based on the data that we have. And if I would do this that I did to the first building and do this to my 10 other buildings that are similar, I know how much I can save. And the more secure you can get in that decision, it's more or less a very easy financial decision, and easy to finance also, installing new windows or making improvements to the HVAC system in the building.